Are you relocating to Miami and thinking about living in Coral Gables when you get here? In this video, I'm going to do a full neighborhood breakdown and a map tour of the city so you can see exactly where it sits in Miami-Dade, what it feels like, what the homes really cost, and which part of Coral Gables might make sense for your budget and your lifestyle. Now let's jump right into the map so I can give you an overview.
All right, so here's Coral Gables on the map here. And as you can see, it's extremely centrally located in Miami-Dade County. It's not in the sweet spot. What I consider the sweet spot is about right here because it gives you access to, Fort Lauderdale Beach and then downtown over here and then Brickell over here. And then it also kind of gives you access to the beaches as well. So it's not in the sweet spot that I consider, but it really is the sweet spot of Miami-Dade. So you're right here in Homestead is about the farthest south over here, and you might be about an hour away from there. And all the way north is Aventura, and I would say you're not quite an hour, but you're about 45 minutes away from Aventura, give or take. However, it is extremely close to the airport right here, south of Fifth, South Beach area over here, super close to downtown over here in Brickell, and super close to Key Biscayne as well. So the location is really central and has a lot of access to Miami-Dade County. A couple of other things to note. There is a Whole Foods here right on US 1. This is Biscayne Boulevard. And then there is a Milam's right here. Right here is the hospital. Just up the road over here, there's a Costco. So for my Costco lovers, it's not too far. This is about a 20-minute drive away. And then just a little bit further west, there's Dolphin Mall. So there's a mall within Coral Gables, but you have access to this mall as well. And then there's another one here, the Falls Mall. So between the Falls Mall and Dolphin Mall, and then the malls that are, on Miracle Mile here, take out the part about Miracle Mile, and then the malls that are over here already in Coral Gables proper, you definitely have a lot of options for shopping and just going out and doing things. And then it's super close to Zoo Miami, which I think is awesome because they've got literally hundreds of different types of animals that live there. It's a really cool attraction. Actually brings a lot of people to this southern part of Miami-Dade as tourists every single year. Now I'm up in this area over here, so there's no way I'm gonna drive over all the way south over here, even with the kids. Like I'm just not doing it. But you have pretty close access to it, being that you're over here in the Coral Gables area. All right, now I want to kind of show you what the traffic pattern is of Coral Gables because it's very unique. And a lot of that has to do with how it's shaped here. As you can see, it's kind of got this strange, slender, skinny, tall, or wide type of shape. So this street right here is 42nd, if I'm not mistaken. Let me zoom in and verify that. Southwest 42nd. And this is 57th, if I'm not mistaken, right here. So most of the traffic going north and south is going to be on these two roads, right? So as you can see, 57th does kind of go down here. For the purpose of the map of Coral Gables, it cuts off here. However, it does continue all the way down, and it meets right here, turns into Old Cutler Bay. So in terms of the northern portion of Coral Gables here, let's just consider it north of US 1. Those are going to be the two main traveled roads. And then there are going to be some smaller roads in between that are traveled quite a bit as well. These lesser traveled roads, they're really not quite as busy, except for, during rush hour traffic times, morning and evening. You're never going to be able to escape that. But, they're lesser traveled. This area is lesser traveled in general. And it's fairly easy to get around. Now, Biscayne, again, during the morning and the evening rush hour, it's pretty much a nightmare. But it does kind of get backed up throughout the day, just depending on what's going on. Now, when you get to this southern portion over here, like I said, over here to 42nd, Now, 42nd eventually does come all the way down, and then there's this little traffic loop here, and then it turns into Old Cutler Road. So, if you're going to be visiting, traveling, living in this southern portion, really the main road to get north and south here is Old Cutler. And it is literally a two-way lane, one and one on each side. So it gets backed up pretty heavily during rush hour traffic. And I mean, during the day, it's okay. It is quite a bit of a long stretch and it's pretty scenic. But sometimes during the day, it can get backed up as well. But just keep in mind, this southern portion is really largely connected by Old Cutler Road that kind of goes down here and down further as well. So I just wanted to show y'all what I mean here. As you can see, this is Cutler Road, and you can follow along with my little guy up here. So I'm on Cutler, facing north and heading north. And it's quite a long stretch. And again, it's really just per one way per direction. And while it's super scenic and has trees all over the place, it's really weird. Sometimes cell service can be a little rough out here because of all of the trees. I don't know if it's because of that or what, but definitely I'm down here maybe about once a week, and one of my clients, I can't get any good service inside the house. Always got to go outside. Anyhow, just wanted to show you guys Old Cutler so you can kind of understand what I mean. This is actually this area right here, this little parking area. I'm trying to get the sign for y'all. There it is. So Fairchild Garden, great place to visit. It's this way over here. And it has a walking trail right here that a lot of locals, they'll park their car right here. And as you can see, it's the walking trail. There's one part that starts here, and then there's another part that starts there. Just so happened to recognize that as I was going down Old Cutler. Yeah, but keep in mind, like I said, that the travel in this area right here is really going to be highly dependent on Old Cutler Road. Otherwise, in general, I think it's really easy to get around Coconut Grove. It's really lively right here in the downtown, area over here by the Biltmore and by the Venetian Pool on, I would say, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, maybe even some weeknights. But other than that, the traffic isn't absolutely terrible, especially compared to other places like Brickell or Miami Beach. In fact, I've got a client that left Brickell, a really nice high-rise condo in Brickell, to purchase a single-family home in Coral Gables. It's actually not too far off of Old Cutler there. And the change in lifestyle and the change in traffic is just like night and day. Him and his kids have way more space and they have way more flexibility to be able to move around. They're actually even closer to their schools. Another reason why a lot of people move to this area. So this area, Coral Gables, definitely feels like less of a frenzy and more calm, as opposed to other, highly trafficked area that may attract more tourists.
Coral Gables has a lot of its own built-in shopping and dining ecosystem. So a lot of the residents barely have to leave the city for day-to-day life. The first big one, and pretty notable, are the shops at Merrick Park. It's an outdoor luxury shopping center. It's right in the heart of Coral Gables, and it has high-end brands, restaurants, a gym. It's very much like an upscale mall for the area and a big draw for locals and visitors. Then you've got downtown Coral Gables and Miracle Mile. Miracle Mile I'll talk about a little bit in a second here, but from a shopping everyday errand standpoint, between Miracle Mile, Merrick Park, and a nearby Dadeland Mall, just a short drive away, you're pretty much covered in terms of luxury shopping and practical shopping. From a grocery standpoint, it's very convenient. There are plenty of public locations in and around the Gables, plus easy access to places like Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and many other residents also take advantage of similar specialty markets, small bakeries along Miracle Mile and in the local neighborhood strip malls and strip centers, of which there are a ton. So day-to-day essentials are pretty close by, and a lot of them are going to be in the main corridors that you'll already be using. The downtown core of Coral Gables is very prominent and it's centered on Miracle Mile and the surrounding streets. So Miracle Mile is a 4-block stretch through downtown Coral Gables, and it's pretty much filled with boutiques, restaurants, cafes, bridal shops, and a whole bunch of offices. You know, the city has heavily invested into the curb appeal and widening the sidewalks over the last decade or so. And so with these improvements, it's one of the most walkable, pedestrian-friendly main streets in Miami-Dade. And then just off of Miracle Mile, you've got the Giralda Plaza. It's a pedestrian-only street and it has outdoor dining, bars, and coffee shops. And on nights and weekends, this area kind of feels like a European-style plaza. So there's usually going to be people outside eating, kids running around, and it's very small and social, but still upscale. The city also runs a free trolley that connects key parts of Coral Gables, including Miracle Mile, to other corridors, which is a nice bonus if you like to just park once and then walk around and have the trolley bring you back and forth. Now, for a city that's so built out like Coral Gables, it does have an impressive amount of green space and unique outdoor amenities. One of the most famous is the Venetian pool. It actually used to be a big hole in the earth that the city had a problem with, and they turned it into this cool pool with waterfalls, caves, and it has this old world architecture to it. It's consistently ranked as the most unique, one of the most unique pools in the country, and it's right there in Coral Gables. You also have multiple options for golf, including Grenada Golf Course near the older residential core, and then the Biltmore Golf Course, which is obviously attached to the hotel. These golf courses sit right inside the residential neighborhoods. So for golfers, it's a very attractive area. Beyond that, the city does maintain dozens of neighborhood parks, tennis centers, and trails. All right, now let's talk about what it actually costs to live here, because that's what everybody wants to know. Coral Gables is one of the more expensive residential markets in Miami-Dade, for sure. Recent data shows that median sales prices, are hovering around 1.6 to 1.8. And then median sold prices are 1.1 to 1.8 million range. And that's just depending on the month, the location, and what kind of property type it is. The housing stock is pretty much a mix of historic 1920s to 1940s Mediterranean revival style homes, mid-century single family houses, and then larger estate homes, especially towards the southern and the eastern edges. On the northern end, it does have more mid-rise and low-rise condo buildings, plus newer luxury condo buildings near Merrick Park, and then along key corridors around that Miracle Mile area. Most single-family homes do sit on well-kept lots, and they have mature landscaping. In general, you're going to be paying a premium here for architecture, location, and strict design standards. So Coral Gables isn't exactly a budget play in terms of buying. However, it does have some surprisingly affordable rentals. To keep things simple for those of you who are relocating, I usually break Coral Gables into two broad buying or renting zones: North Coral Gables and then South Coral Gables. So North Gables sits closer to Flagler Street, 8th Street, and the Miami City line. This area definitely gives you some more attainable, more affordable single-family housing according to Coral Gables standards. They're typically smaller homes on smaller lots, but still give you access to everything that the city has to offer. It's really popular for people who want quick access to the airport, downtown, and the expressways, and are okay with being on the northern edge of the city. South Gables is pretty much everything south of US 1 and everything east of Old Cutler Road. Here you're going to see bigger lots, estate-style homes, and definitely a lot more gated community options. This area in general definitely has the most expensive property that the city has to offer, especially if it's waterfront or it has bay cul-de-sac access. But don't take my word for it. Let's take a look at Zillow and see what's for sale. But before we do, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mark Henry. I'm a local agent and your new source of information for everything living in and moving to Miami-Dade County, Florida. Myself and my partners help folks every single week who are relocating and want to find the right home in the right neighborhood. Doesn't matter if you're moving next week, next month, or next year. Please don't be shy about reaching out if you need to buy or rent. The fastest way to get in touch with me is going to be sending me an email. But if you aren't in a time crunch, you can go ahead and book a call. My contact info is below in the description, and I'd be happy to help you make a smooth move. All right, now let's check out what's on Zillow.
All right, so I'm going to start off with this northern area over here. This is pretty much everything that is north of US 1 or Biscayne Boulevard over here. This is an approximation, obviously. because I had to do my little draw, my little shape here with Zillow. But I've got for sale 3-2 because that's what most people are looking for. Even if they're renting, most folks want a 3-2, especially if you have kids. It's kind of a no-brainer, almost a necessity. And then I've got houses checked, houses only right now that I'm looking at. And this is definitely the more affordable part of Coral Gables. So, and I'm just gonna kind of quickly browse through the pictures, and I'm looking for something that is representative of move-in ready and maybe has some remodels done, so you can get a baseline idea of what it's going to cost to purchase a property here. So this property here, it's definitely original condition, but it's super clean. Looks like the floors might have been redone. Bathroom was redone there. I mean, this is a solid example of an affordable home. It's 3-2, just shy of 1,300 square feet in the Coral Gables area. All right, so but let's take a look at one or two more. And I mean, as you can see, the list prices anyway, they're starting right at 700. So that is pretty middle of the road in terms of if you're looking to buy a property in Miami-Dade County. I always suggest have 600 to 800,000 in terms of a budget ready to make a purchase. The closer you can get to 800,000, the more options you have. However, 600,000 could definitely get it done. This is 700 is right there in the middle of the road. All right, let's take a look at this one. 720,000, a 4.3, 1,500 square feet. And it's definitely updated here, as it says here in the listing. It's got a lot of attention on it. This is definitely going to sell. This looks like it is a decently priced property. And properties that are well priced, despite the location, always sell fast. Just something to consider. Right, so it's definitely lived in. You can see all the, it's not like professionally staged, but this is a great home, small lot, but that's typical for Miami, and typical for Coral Gables, at least in this northern area over here. And I doubt that this will sell for 720. It might sell for less. It's getting a lot of attention, but it's pretty well priced and it's a beautiful home. So if you're going to move to this, northern area, this is a pretty good representation of what you can expect. And let me change the property type real quick from just houses only to the townhomes and the condos for a moment. So we're going to keep it 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And right off the bat, I think $699 was the cheapest listing for houses, and $120,000 lower. You can get a condo 3-2, 1,100 square feet. HOA is $685 a month, which is actually pretty affordable. This is obviously an older building. It's not even a mid-rise; it's a low-rise, right? So would want to check out what the amenities are there, but it's super clean. Looks like it got a really nice renovation. They didn't go over the top or anything like that. This would almost make a great rental unit as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it is currently a rental unit, but anyhow, roughly, let's call it 575, 600,000 can get you a really nice condo in Coral Gables. And of course, the prices just keep climbing, right? So we can look at all types of really nice properties. And I won't drag you through all that. Clicking through this one just got on my own curiosity. But very quickly, the prices go from, in the sixes to the million very quickly. So, realistically, if you want to have a budget for the best property, whether it's going to be houses or condos, $1 million plus is probably what you want to have in mind. That again, that's for the best options, but you can still get some great options for a lot less than that. All right, so I want to look at really quickly. I want to show you guys what's for rent in the area, and right now I've got apartments and townhomes checked off. And again, I'm super surprised about just how affordable they are. For example, this one is a four-bedroom, two-bath, 2,200 square feet, and it is for rent for $3,400 a month. Um, for Miami and for Coral Gables, especially for how much people really like the area. This is a pretty good price, and this is a really nice, clean unit. Definitely renovated. It's not over the top. It's not like super sexy or special. No pool. Probably doesn't have any amenities, but it's affordable, so it's a great option. And I've always got the filters low to high, so I, kind of give you guys an idea of, bottom of the barrel, what can you expect? This one is just a little bit outside, but it's even more affordable, 28.50 for a 3-2. Now the locals will tell you, oh my God, that's so expensive. Listen, this is just what they're asking for. You got to negotiate, give them an offer, make them an offer they can't refuse. You know what I mean? So just like with buying a property, when you're renting, make them an offer. Let's see what they take. Apartment buildings are typically not going to negotiate with you. That's just how it works most of the time. But private owners, they very well will, especially if they don't have a lot of people looking at their units. So if you're renting, have about, let's call it for 3,000 to 3,500. If you're renting a condo or a townhome or in an apartment building. Um, Houses is a different story for sure. So let's look at that. Now this is a duplex, so I'm not going to count that. But how's this property here for $3,400 doesn't look the best. I mean, it's not well represented, so I'm not even going to bother clicking through it, to be honest with you. And we're going to look for a house for rent that actually looks like it is well presented. And this is a great example. It's a little small, but enough space. 3-2, 1,200 square feet for rent for $3,500 a month. Doesn't look like. I mean, it looks like the flooring was recently redone. I don't know when the bathroom was, but it's definitely remodeled. Clean, safe, affordable. For 3,500, that's a pretty good price. Now, here's the thing: the prices for the homes, they start going up really, really fast. So you're going to have more options, honestly, in this 4,000 to, 5 or 6,000 range here if you want to rent a home in Coral Gables. Let's look at this one. Yeah, so this is super clean, really nice, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 2,000 square foot. Just trying to see if it had a pool. And listen, there's no way that you're going to be able to purchase this house and your monthly principal, interest, taxes, and insurance come up to, $6,000. So, renting some of these properties is a great option for a lot of people. It's a low price tag in relation to what you'd have been paying if you had purchased it. And this, honestly, especially this bathroom, really needs to be redone. So it's looks like it's original condition, super well kept. Might even be overpriced, I think, for sure, considering the condition. Overall, depending on what you want to spend, the range here in terms of rentals is going to be, anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 entry level. You know what I mean? For something that is clean, safe, affordable, but still in a really nice part of town. Now, if you want to spend more money, you 100% can very easily. The prices will, get into $7,000 plus per month for a rental. Again, if you were to buy that same property, you'd be paying more, right? So it's about having a good property in a good location. As long as renting makes sense to you, you have a lot of good options here. Just in this northern part, there's 59 rentals available. All right, and then you got this southern portion here. So this is everything that is south of US 1, and then of course, kind of, east of Cutler Road over here. Um, and for sale, and I'm gonna go 3, 2, and right now I just want to look at houses. So, whereas in the northern part you can get a house in the 6 to 700,000 range, on the low side, I would say. In this area, right away, the prices start at around, 1.6. Now, are they going to sell for 1.6, on that low side? Maybe, maybe not. It just depends. Every property is different. But at the end of the day, what they're asking isn't typically what they get, right? So, going to look at the solds real quick for the last 30 days. And the lowest sold in the last 30 days was 1.6. Lowest sold in the last 90 days was 1.45. And that's a little bit closer here to US 1 here. So let's go back to for sale and open up the days on Zillow to any. So we're looking at everything. So let's look at this property here. 3.2 listed for just under 1.8 million and just shy of 1,900 square feet. Really nicely done bathrooms. No pool, but a decent backyard there. Let's look at what the lot size is. So it's a smaller lot, 6,300 square feet, but this is a great option. And this is a great option here. It's on 6,600 square feet, 6,600 square foot lot. So not much, not very big at all. And for just under 2 million, it's a 3.3. And just under 1,700 square feet, getting a lot of attention. So this is probably going to sell pretty quickly, I would think. Let's take a quick look. Really nice Spanish style tiles in this property that contrast really well with the white. Always a plus when it has, built-in shelves in the closets there. The vanity is obviously new. Bathtub doesn't actually even look like it's 100% new. It looks like the doors and the fixtures were renovated there. But this is definitely a beautiful home. For sure, what you can expect to spend in this southern part here. Now, there are less condos and townhomes in this area. So there, I've got it right now on condos and townhomes. I've only got 9 results. And these townhomes and condos, I can barely speak today. They pretty much go for the same price as, entry level in this southern portion, what a single family is going to go for. So, 1.8, 1.9, 1.9, and then we quickly get to 2 million. So these are like really, really nice townhomes. As you can see, they're large, 3,000 square feet, some 4,000 square feet. Super, super, really nice with amenities. And so that's why they get the same price as, single family homes, even if you don't have the lot there. So now I'm going to, let's look at what is for rent. And we're just going to do all the property types. So the closer you are to US 1 over here, you're going to have some affordable rentals in the 3s, and even, 4. This is kind of along on the outskirts right here. But typically in this southern portion, 6,000 is kind of where you want to start. Honestly, you have more options available in the $9,000 to $10,000 range in terms of renting either a single family house or even a condo. So let's just grab this one at random. All right, so this is a 3 bedroom, 2.5, just shy of 2,400 square foot, and it's renting for $9,500 a month. Really, really nice curb appeal on this property. You've got the garage there as well, but it likely doesn't come with the furniture, but it's presented very, very nicely. You can tell that the owners really care about this property. And so you have a whole bunch of options for renting here in this area. Some more affordable, probably not going to be a single family home, going to be a condo or an apartment. In terms of single family homes, really, again, you're kind of getting close to more like $8,000 a month, give or take. And by the way, Zillow doesn't always have all of the information. So, if you reach out, I'll actually send you exactly what's for rent, whether it's a house, townhome, whatever it may be. So you can look at all of the options because there's actually more out there than you might think.
If you found this video to be helpful, you'll definitely want to check out my next video highlighting the pros and cons of living in Coral Gables. And remember, if you're thinking about relocating to Miami, reach out. Let's do it the smart way. Until next time, God bless and be well.